Welcome to the Oilers TV live show. I'm your host, Tony Barr. Thanks so much for making us a part of your Tuesday morning. Hope your day is going well. The Oilers, of course, evening up the series on Monday night by a final score of 6-3 over the Chicago Blackhawks, led by their captain, Connor McDavid, who recorded his first career playoff hat trick, while Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, while he was a little bit of a silent assassin, 3 assists on the night, already has 6 points in 2 games, joining his fellow teammate, Connor McDavid, for the team lead in points. Now, we're going to be hearing from head coach Dave Tippett in just a few moments, and then after that, we will be hearing from Andreas Athanasiou, Mikko Koskinen, who was really steady in the Oilers' goal last night, turning aside 23 of 26 shots, and the aforementioned Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Now, just a quick note on Andreas Athanasiou. He played just over 10 minutes last night, but that was arguably his most effective and efficient game in an Edmonton Oilers uniform. And yes, I am including that very first game where he had a goal and assist in Anaheim after the trade deadline when he played alongside Connor McDavid and Tyler Ennis. He was that effective. And head coach Dave Tippett mentioned it yesterday, they got to see more of that from Andreas Athanasiou, and the ice time will come for number 28. Again, head coach Dave Tippett in just a few moments, and then Andreas Athanasiou, Mikko Koskinen, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And a quick note on the Remax 50-50 from last night. There's a new Albertan who is a fresh new millionaire. Somebody last night took home $1.629 million from the Remax 50-50. So just a reminder, if you are interested in participating in the 50-50, it starts on a game day every day at 9 p.m. Mountain, and it goes until 10:30 p.m. Mountain on every game day. It looks like head coach Dave Tippett is on the podium at the JW Marriott. Let's jump to the hotel now.
You can ask your question.
Dave, I was looking up numbers, and I know you played the game. And the playoffs, it's more of a grind-out game. Your fourth line, every guy's 208-plus pounds. The Hawks only have 2 players in their whole roster over 205 pounds. Do you feel that that's the key to their success, is just their size and strength, and the Hawks haven't been able to handle them down low?
That's certainly what we're looking for from that line. They are a big, strong line. They protect the puck well. When they get around the net, they can be real hard in there. JJ's really evolved for us he's a solid centerman. He's positionally very sound. So, that's the kind of game we're looking for them. And it's good to see them get rewarded for some of the work they're putting in down low. And that was a big part of the game. Those 2 goals in the third period from them were huge for us.
Next question, Rob Fischkowski from the Edmonton Sun. Go ahead, Rob.
Hi, Dave. A lot of what playoff experience where it comes in helpful is, not getting too overhyped in your old building and being able to deal with the atmosphere in a hostile building. None of that's in play anymore. So is postseason experience less important, or how does that manifest itself and still become helpful?
I think it's still important because you have the experiences of going through things in games that those experiences help you. And I thought last night, our team responded very well, but you look at I look at guys like Neal and Chason that have, a lot of experience in the playoffs, and they're saying the right things, they're doing the right things. And when you have people through your lineup doing that, it drags everybody else along. I thought, leadership from them, leadership from Connor, from Darnell Nurse was really strong. We just had a real committed effort that you look at the players in your room, they muster that up, and I love the way last night we were talking about playing the right way, right from the drop of the puck, and that's your leadership and players going into a playoff game and a really important game for us, that we did the right things and we found a way to win.
Next question, Brian Shaw. Brian, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Dave, obviously you guys weren't able to find that in the first game. You clearly find it in the second game. I think the playoffs are kind of probably about being able to find that every single night. Is that something that the group just has to learn through tough lessons? Is it something they should be expected to just have? Or what's your thought on that evolution of understanding that needs to be every night?
Well, the consistency in which, you say you want to play well every night, but there's consistency you have to have within the game and things you're doing. And game one, we came out, we fell behind 4-1 early. And when you're chasing a game, doesn't matter who you are, you don't look like as good a team. And, we chased that first game, did some things to put ourselves behind that cost us. Last night, we had purpose the whole game. We never trailed in the game. They got back to even. We got the fourth goal was a big goal, but we stayed with the process. So the consistency in what you're doing throughout the game builds that consistency that you have to have from outcomes from game to game.
Next question to Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, go ahead.
Dave, with Athanasiou, is it difficult to get a player into the game when he's not on any special teams? He doesn't kill a penalty. He's on the second or third power play unit. So as a coach, when you're watching him and he's really playing well, and you're saying, man, there's a lot of penalties here. He's sitting too long. How do you get a guy like that who's playing well on the ice more?
Well, first of all, you have to recognize there's situations that the team has players that play in certain situations, and if you're in those situations, and the special teams rise, like he's getting a little bit of time on a second power play for us. But what he is what he did last night. Like you see those individual bursts and plays where he's real hungry for the puck. Those are things that a player like him, even though he might not be getting as much ice time as some other players, he can have an impact. He's one of those guys that an explosive circumstance where he jumps on a puck and creates a chance is where he's going to have his biggest effect. But he's been real solid in trying to do things structurally that we're trying to do. But when he does get opportunities, it's nice to see him try to create something. Like he had a chance last night on a power play where he took a puck from the corner to the front of the net. Real good chance. But you noticed his speed throughout the game. But sometimes the game, the special teams, it dictates how much time players get. But as long as they recognize that what they're doing, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes, what they're doing, they've got to do their job to help our team win and recognize that. And AA was good last night. He was happy for the win. I was happy to see how he played, how he reacted, and hopefully that's a good step going forward for him.
Next question for Curtis Withers, Canadian Press. Go ahead, Curtis.
Hi, Dave. Given what Connor did to spark the team last night, and what some of the other captains have done in the restart, I'm thinking Sidney Crosby had a big goal against the Habs last night. Obviously, if you have a letter on your jersey, you're expected to step up. But just how much does it matter when a guy like Connor McDavid steps up when the team needs him most?
Well, when your captain does it, it's the rest of your team. That's your leader. You can follow suit. I've seen it for years with Sidney Crosby. I mean, he dictates the work ethic and the pace of the game. Last night, Connor was the guy to do that for us. He, right from the drop of the puck, he was engaged. He gets that early goal, and then, when you have a player like that and your team is sitting there taking that in, it's an inspiration to the team. And Connor's not a big rah-rah guy, but he inspires players by how he plays. And last night he certainly led the way for us, but and then the rest of our team followed suit. So it's a captain or a top player. Those players have the ability to lead by their actions, and I think you see that in both Crosby and Connor.
Next question to Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hi, Dave. You obviously have a lot of high-end skilled players on your team, but you're also playing hockey in August. So I'm curious, have you heard much feedback from your players about the conditions of the ice? And as a coaching staff, are you kind of, telling them to maybe be a little bit more selfish with the puck and not try to be too cute? Is there any kind of message you're giving them in terms of how to play in August rather than in the middle of winter when the ice may be a bit better?
No, we've talked about the ice a little bit, and there's been no complaints whatsoever. So whether it gets tough in that latter game, I didn't hear anything about it last night. So if it becomes a concern, we'll certainly address it. But right now, it hasn't been a concern.
Next question to Mark Spector. Mark, as soon as your microphone's active, go ahead.
So having said that, Dave, I don't know, did you get a chance to take a closer look at McDavid's second goal? The way he pulled that puck down out of the air at center ice, it bounced all the way down the rink. He kept tapping it, and then flattened it out right at the end. I mean, I don't know if the ice is good or bad, but he was like a lacrosse player out there. What were your thoughts on that hand-eye he showed?
Well, I've seen that before from Connor, so it's you're always amazed. The thing that amazes me is the speed that he's going when he's doing that. And just talking from experience as an old player, you're trying to find that thing and bat it down and get it flat, but usually you're working on that and not thinking about how fast you're going. Connor does those things at high speed, and that's what catches players. Like he like you say, he must have whacked that thing 3 or 4 times, but he knew exactly what he was doing every time he was touching it until it finally laid down. And the next part of it, to make a shot like that when you're going that speed and the puck has been bouncing around, that's elite talent, and that's what Connor has.
Got a question from Ryan Rashog. Ryan, as soon as your microphone's active, go ahead.
Dave, just hitting on the details again. Nugent-Hopkins and McDavid make sure you win that opening draw. I think Leon Draisaitl on his first shift was pretty aggressive, trying to throw a couple of hits that night in, night out, he might not necessarily try and throw. I just wonder about, Draisaitl and whether the points are coming or not, the attention to detail and how much that matters to see, from him.
Matters from everybody. I mean, we have to have our whole group there's attention to detail, because what that is playing well as a team. You have details in your team game that we expect everybody to do. You can be Draisaitl, you can be Nugent-Hopkins, you can be Larson, you can be Cassian. There's details that have to be done because that's how you play well as a group. And it doesn't matter the status of your player or your role. Everybody's expected to do those details. And last night we were much better at it than game 1.
Okay, we'll take 2 more questions and then we'll have players available. Jim Matheson, go ahead.
Dave, what was your reasoning for switching it up with Cassian and Archibald? That you just didn't like Zach's game in the first game? They're both aggressive. Zach's just bigger than Josh.
Yeah, just looking for a little tweak here or there just to see if we could find some energy somewhere. So just a subtle tweak that it's one of those things it's a gut feel. You just do it and see how it goes. Worked out all right.
We'll take one final question. Jason Gregor. Jason, as soon as your microphone's active, go ahead.
Dave, it's still only 3 games after a lengthy layoff, and I know that as a coach, you love to see the offense. Your team's defensive structure, did you feel that it improved in the areas that you want? And what are the other areas maybe you want to improve in your overall defensive play?
Yesterday we gave up half the chances we gave up the first game. So the first game was loose. Like I say, we got chasing that game. We were very loose. Last night we were pretty detailed. There wasn't a lot. We didn't give up a lot 5-on-5. A bunch of shots on the power play that we blocked most of them. So our defensive details were much better last night. There's still some areas that we can continue to look to improve every game, but we were much closer to where we need to be defensively last night than we were game 1.
Thanks, Coach Tippett. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back shortly with players. Thank you.
And there was the Oilers bench boss, Dave Tippett, speaking at the JW Marriott. Now, just a reminder, we are going to be hearing from Andreas Athanasiou, Mikko Koskinen, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in just a few moments as well. But you heard Dave Tippett talk about Connor McDavid and how he led this team to the victory last night, evening up the series in Game 2. He says, when your captain does it, the rest of your team follows suit. And obviously drawing comparisons to Pittsburgh's Sidney Crosby. He says he's been watching 87 for a very, very long time. And 87 always dictates the play and also the pace for the team for the rest of the night. And especially when your team sees that early, the rest of the team will follow suit, and it helps inspire players with their game for the rest of the night. Now, the fourth line also getting some love. That's because they went to work in the third period, and they were the main reason why the Oilers bought some insurance goals in the third period, scoring 2 goals in 40 seconds apart to really seal this one. You heard a lot of Jujhar Khaira, how much more comfortably he looks at center. He was 50% on the face-off dot last night as well, and obviously was a big reason for that turnover behind the Chicago goal when Corey Crawford kind of mishandled it, and then the puck was picked up by James Neal. So not an official assist on the board for Jujhar Khaira, but definitely putting in the work. Now, the other 2 guys that are on that line, both James Neal and Alex Chason, if you recall, they actually went head-to-head in the Stanley Cup Finals back in 2018. James Neal, of course, with the Vegas Golden Knights in their inaugural season. Alex Chason winning the Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals. And again, there's a big reason why those 2 guys were sought after in the last few years here in Edmonton, because they have that playoff experience. They have the experience that can really push this team over the hump.
We have Mikko, Koskinen,
of
Andreas
the
Athanasiou.
Oilers players, it looks like Mikko Koskinen, Andreas Athanasiou, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins are on the podium at the JW Marriott. Let's go there now.
Phone is active. Go ahead.
Mikko, yeah, that was your first ever Stanley Cup playoff victory. Can you just speak to what that means to you? And can you compare it to your KHL experiences in the playoffs?
First, it was big win for the team. We really needed to come back for the series, and of course, it's a different situation now. You can't really compare because we never played without fans and this kind of situation. So it's new situation for everyone, but same for all.
Next question, Rob Tychkowski, Edmonton Sun. Rob, go ahead.
A couple for Ryan. Normally, you guys would be heading back to Chicago for games 3 and 4, and now it's just another game in an empty building. How much does this no home ice advantage kind of change the dynamic of things? And secondly, how much do you miss what that building would have sounded like last night?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot different now. We don't change hotels. We don't travel or anything like that. So when we're playing on the same sheet the whole time, so it does take out a little bit of the home ice advantage. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it would have been rocking last night, and it would have been a lot of fun to have the fans in there cheering us on.
Next question, Tim Campbell. Tim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Tim. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Curtis Withers, Canadian Press. Curtis, go ahead.
Hi, this is for any of the players. Obviously, captains are expected to lead, but when you see sort of a performance like Connor's last night, and especially stepping up when the team really needed him, how does that really affect the rest of the players in the lineup?
I think it gives us a big boost. I mean, he comes out and he's flying like that the first couple shifts. You want to follow right along. So we know he can do that at any given moment. And for him to do that in a huge game like that last night, I mean, it definitely it makes you, raises your energy level. And I thought that the whole team responded well.
We'll try again with Tim Campbell. As soon as your microphone's active, go ahead, Tim.
Hi, Ryan. Wondering, given that you've seen all of Connor McDavid's goals, where you would rank goal number 2 in last night's game on your personal list of Connor favorites?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be up there. Given the time of the game, given obviously the type of game it is or it was, and I mean just his explosive speed. We know how fast he can be, but for him to be able to control a puck like that and and then put it top shelf on the backhand. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. So it's and like I said, the type of game it was, it's got to be up there for sure.
Next question, Mark Spector. Mark, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead. And problem with the microphone. Go to the next question to Daniel Nugent. Oh, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a question for Ryan, but Andreas, if you can chime in too, that would be great. I know Ryan, after the first game, you mentioned the ice might not be the greatest, given that it is a game in August. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that. And as skilled guys, does it change anything in your game? How do you kind of approach things, and what kind of adjustments do you make when the ice isn't maybe as it might be in the middle of January?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be tough conditions a little bit, and just with the amount of games that are being played on it, it's a little bit tough. But I think everyone has to deal with it. So it's an even playing ground, and it's just something you work through. You keep it a little more simple, and just like I said, just keep it simple out there on that ice.
Okay, Mark Spector, your microphone's open. Go ahead.
All right, thanks. Sorry, must be an internet problem. Andreas, so you mentioned the ice. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to really kind of go over Connor's second goal the way everyone online has been doing it today, but I just wonder what an NHL player who's playing on that ice, who's playing at that speed, thinks about, pulling a puck out of the air, bouncing it all the way up the ice, flattening it out right at the bottom of the circle and shooting it upstairs like he did on the backhand short side. Given all the ice conditions and the speed of the game and how good everybody is, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty unbelievable. Obviously, just from the start to finish, being able to carry the puck at that speed, and be able to, make such a precise shot and such a little open area is pretty unbelievable. And that's why he's the best in the world. And just the abilities to make that play it's unbelievable.
Next question will be to John Dietz. John, as soon as your microphone's active, go ahead.
Hey, this question's for Mikko. Mikko, I'm just curious, as a goaltender, Corey's only been back for about 7 days with the Blackhawks. How difficult, can you put yourself in his shoes, and how difficult would it be for you to come back after a summer off, basically 7 days worth of preparation, and then be asked to play, a couple games? How rusty do you think you'd be? Would it be very difficult?
Yeah, I would assume so. It's tough. Even we had 4 weeks or whatever. So 1 week, it's pretty impressive how good he still is.
Next question, Ryan Rashog. Ryan, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question.
For Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, just looking at James Neal and the energy he seems to have brought really in both games. He's been deep into the playoffs multiple times, Ryan. I just wonder if what he is sort of showing is what is required to go deep into the playoffs, and how that can maybe rub off on everybody else that hasn't been that deep.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of the more experienced guys when it comes to playoffs on our team. So he's definitely a leader in that aspect. And I thought the last 2 games he's been a driving force for us. And I think that whole line is. Last night, they're physical, they're hard to play against, and getting a couple goals there at a huge time of the game. That was so big for us. And James, he, like you said, he knows what it takes to get to deep in the playoffs. So we got to listen to him. And there's a lot of young guys on this team who haven't been in the playoffs or been that far in the playoffs. So we definitely look to him for his experience.
Next question, Rob Tychkowski, Edmonton Sun. Go ahead, Rob.
Hi, for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Game 1, you guys obviously weren't very good. Game 2, much, much better. Do you just throw away Game 1 as an aberration and you guys have found your game, or is consistency something that you guys are going to have to address and make a focus?
We definitely want to remember, what it was like that first game. We can't just throw it away. We know that we have to be a lot sharper, and we showed that last night. When we get back to our game, we simplify things. We play as 5 guys all around the ice. It's hard to play against, and that's what gave us success all throughout the season. that first game, I mean, we kind of got away from that, and that's a team over there that can capitalize when you do. So we learn from that. We can't throw it away, but definitely can learn from it and move on.
Next question for Tim Campbell. Tim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, Andre, I forgot to lower my hand.
Oh, okay. Next question then will be Jim Matheson. Jim, go ahead as soon as your microphone's active.
Yeah, this is for Andreas. Andreas, you didn't play very much in the first game and all the penalties and such. And then in the second game, you got a little bit more work. How difficult is it for a player like you, who's such a good skater and good with the puck, to be sitting there a long time, not on the penalty kill, and you're on the second power play unit?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously those penalties are tough, and it's just kind of staying ready, making sure your legs are good to go, and whenever you step on that ice, you got to be ready to go, and that's all I try to do is whenever I get on that ice is go out there and work and just do the best I can to help the team.
Next question, Terry Jones. Go ahead, Terry, as soon as your microphone's activated. Go ahead.
Mikko, can you just articulate some of your favorite experiences from the KHL playoffs?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, can you articulate some of your favorite experiences from the KHL playoffs?
Favorite experience.
So your favorite experiences from in the KHL.
Yeah. Sorry, I think that when you lift the cup, I think that's the favorite experience. So that's the ultimate goal. Win the cup.
Okay, next question to Mark Spector. Mark, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
So you guys, you're back in this thing. It's a best of three, right? Is there some value in having seen yourselves maybe, I don't want to say at your worst, but you guys weren't close to as good as you can be in game one. You turn it up, you win a game in game two. I'd ask Ryan, you've been up and down this roller coaster at Edmonton for a long time. Now that you got the series 1-1 and you've sort of righted your ship, you feel like, you guys are in a pretty good place, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we went out last night and we did what we wanted to do. We simplified things and got the job done. But I mean, Neal was saying it kind of right after the game. We can't get too high, can't get too low. It's you got to have the same mentality every single game because I mean, every game is a fresh start. So I thought we did a good job of that last night after not one of our best games in game one for sure. And going into tomorrow, we have to have that same mindset. We can't be feeling too good about ourselves after one game. I mean, it's still a long way to go to win the series. So we got to have the same mentality and just keep pushing here.
We have three media with questions, so we'll take those three questions and then conclude the conference. We have Paul Gazzola up next. Go ahead, Paul, as soon as your microphone's active. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Andreas, Coach Tippett said that was the best game he had seen you play in an Oilers uniform. How encouraging is it to hear that, and how comfortable do you feel in an Oilers sweater?
Yeah, it's obviously, I think anytime you hear that, it's definitely a confidence booster. But, I just try to go out there and, do the best I can. Obviously, we have, 4 good lines right now, and, you can see yesterday all 4 were going pretty good. So it's a good feeling to be a part of that, and let's just keep going. We have another game coming up, and just try to do the same thing.
Next question to Jason Gregor. Jason, go ahead.
Mikko, can you talk about the penalty killers and just, their role yesterday in shot blocking? The only shots that got through, none of them, I think, were within 30 feet. And obviously that makes it easier, but it seemed they were back kind of in sync on the PK. And do you almost expect certain shots to be blocked on that unit?
Yeah, I think our PK was unreal yesterday. All the guys who played there, they sacrificed themselves, and so many huge blocks there. And I think that was one of the biggest keys if you compare for the first game. And they played unreal PK.
Next and final question to Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question.
This is for Andreas. 2 questions. One, you're fast. You're probably in the top half dozen skaters in the league. How did you think you'd do in a race with Connor? And the other question I have for you is the 50-50 winner last night, the pool was $3 million. You just laugh at that and say this is hockey in Edmonton. What would the 50-50 be in Detroit?
I don't think it'd be that much. It's kind of funny whenever we come to, Canadian teams and play Canadian games. Our team would sometimes put in a little bit of a money pool and join in on the 50-50 on some of them. So it's pretty impressive to see. Obviously, you see how supportive the fan base is, and that's obviously it's a really cool thing to see. And to the first part, that guy's really fast. I don't know. It's crazy. He's so explosive every single night, and watching that, it's just something for me. I see that, and I just try to push myself to try to keep up as best as I can.
Thank you very much to Mikko, Andreas, and Ryan. That brings to a conclusion today's media availability. Thank you.
And there was Mikko Koskinen, Andreas Athanasiou, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I know Jim Matheson asked who would win in a race, Andreas Athanasiou or Connor McDavid. Well, one thing I'm looking forward to whenever we can host the event is the next Oilers skills competition. I think it's going to be a great three-headed monster in the fastest skating competition with Connor McDavid, Andreas Athanasiou, and Joakim Nygard. Nygard was the winner this past year. I know a lot of Oilers fans seem to forget that, but Nygard has some wheels as well. You heard Ryan Nugent-Hopkins talk about it being another fresh start heading into Game 3 because this best-of-5 series is now a best-of-3. It's whoever can win 2 games before the other team can that will advance to the conference quarterfinals against one of the round-robin teams. He says we have to have the same mindset going into Game 3, not getting too high, not getting too low, coming in even keel. I know it's super cliche for hockey players, but you have to come in even keel in each and every game. I think that should do it for us here at Oilers TV. The Oilers are skating today at 3:15, I believe, 3:15 or 3:45 off the top of my head. I couldn't recall. They are skating then. We should await word on what the availabilities will be like tomorrow, whether it's going to be head coach Dave Tippett or the same process with 3 players and head coach Dave Tippett. You can keep it locked in on EdmontonOilers.com for the latest. So on behalf of everyone here at Oilers TV, we hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. And as always, stay safe.